Which leads us to our next topic. If GameStop is even going to be around much longer. I feel like we've been saying that for years, though, and they keep finding ways to stick around. GameStop's morale is low. Polygon did interviews with, I think they said 12 to 15 different managers and employees over email and phone about what it's like working in the store. And this is actually something I'd been thinking about myself. As GameStop, kind of continues to fall apart, are they going to go back to that model of, trying to force sell stuff all the time? And unfortunately, it looks like that is absolutely the case. GameStop store managers and retail sales staff say the company is taking increasingly desperate measures to shore up sales as the video game retail chain struggles with massive loss of revenue caused mainly by broad consumer shift to digital purchases. I think they'll close 1,000 stores this year, said one former store manager with many years retail experience. They have to cut costs. The games retail market is dying. Another manager said, my store is well known for solid sales performance, but customer traffic has dipped significantly in the past 2 years. And I think this is where they start to get desperate. GameStop, I believe it was in an investor call, said that, this is, they're trying to sell this again as a cyclical downturn, dip in sales, as one that happens at the end of every generation as a new generation is coming. But the employees have stated that they don't think that the top brass actually believes that. And what is really happening is simply there is less of a need for a place like GameStop. More and more people have gone to digital, and that is going to cut your sales down drastically. Even if a person only does 50% of their buying now digital, or 25% of their buying now digital, and the other 75% they only do through GameStop, that's still a 25% downturn. Sure. And I know even a lot of hardcore, we've got to have physical only copies. In private, a lot of these people, they will. For certain games, there's a sale, or they just don't want to leave the house that day, or there's a convenience, or it's one that they don't think is going to be worth something in the future. Why not just fucking buy it digitally and have it delivered directly to your hard drive? Or buy it offline.
Or buy it on Amazon, get delivered the next day.
Yep.
Because it's not just the fact that
you don't need to get up and leave the house anymore. You can either have it delivered directly to your door, or you can have it downloaded onto your hard drive. So even people who want physical have less of a reason to get up and go to GameStop, especially now if they're going to start trying to force sell things. People are going to steer clear of it.
This was a... Let's see. There was a Shopping at GameStop is miserable article from January 15th on Polygon. GameStop's biggest problem may be its own stores. And this one gets back to what you want to call the customer experience. So even if I want to go to a store, I'd prefer that, buying a physical. If there's a location where I think I want to get hassled or get jerked around or just not have a sleek experience, I'm not going to bother. So this was a script that they wrote on this article about what the experience is like walking into a GameStop. Do you have a copy of the new Assassin's Creed game? Did you pre-order? No, but if you want to make sure we have a copy of the game, you need to make sure to put $5 down a pre-order, which guarantees you, okay, but you have a copy of the game. Do you have anything you'd like to trade in toward the cost of the game? I still don't know if you have it. Would you be interested in a pre-owned copy? So obviously that could be exaggerated, but that's pretty much what they're trained to tell you to walk through steps, because they make their money on pre-owned and used. They want to find out if you have stuff to trade in, and do you want a pre-owned game. That's how they make their money. But if I just want a new copy of the game, just sell me the damn game.
Right.
I see it right there.
You're not making any money. Just make the money you can make.
Sell me the new copy I see right there. Don't ask me if I want a pre-owned copy. Take my money. It's here for you.
An assistant manager says things have changed drastically. Our district manager is pushing tech trades like iPhones and tablets, as well as pre-order reservations. No one cares about the games or the customers anymore. It's obnoxious. So this is actually the last time I was in a GameStop, I think, was before Christmas. Vonnie and I it was when we were grabbing Dark Souls for you. And I went up there, and the lady who works there is nice, and she knows that I don't want any of that stuff, but they've got to do it. And she starts asking me about my phone and asking me if I have any phones to trade in.
What?
And I was like, huh? Because I remember there had been a time where GameStop did that, like a few years ago. They were doing like iPhone trade-ins, Samsung, iPad trade-ins. But I thought it had all fallen to the wayside. I thought they stopped doing it. Well, apparently they're doing it again. I don't know if they ever actually stopped, but what I have noticed is there is from the last couple times I was in there were a couple years there where going to GameStop wasn't a miserably hellish experience. At least not as bad as it used to be. People were asking me if there was anything I wanted to reserve. There wasn't. That's fine. But no one's trying to sell me a card. No one's trying to sell me a discount card. People weren't pushing stuff as heavily as they used to. And then the past few times I've gone in, I've seen this. I've been asked about phones. I've been asked about trade-ins. And it's like, no, I just want to buy the game that I'm here to buy and then leave. And this is definitely at odds with the whole. They wanted to be seen as a place for gaming culture. There was a few of those GameStops that got redesigned and had like the PlayStations put in. Mm-hmm. I should probably think of a different name. Stations for playing, game stations.
Gaming stations.
Right.
Kiosks.
And tables for gaming and stuff like that. But no one's going to go to those if they think they're going to be harassed constantly about buying shit.
Sure.
So what are you trying to do, GameStop? Do you want to do the hard sell tactics and chase them all away? Or do you want to try to do this remodel thing and make it a fun place for people to go and hang out? Unfortunately, like they've said in this article, like I mentioned earlier, there really isn't a way out for GameStop.
No. They either try to squeeze whatever profits they have left by pushing, like, oh, do you pre-own? Do you want to trade in stuff? Or they just die quicker. I mean, there's no, like I said, there's no way out. In this article, this one manager says they're going to close 1,000 stores this year, and they have about 5,500 left, roughly, something like that. That might be low after whatever. Remember, we're going to get 2019 Rev results probably by end of March.
Yeah,
it's going to be a bloodbath, I think.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. This isn't the last time you're going to hear about GameStop this month from us, I'm sure.
Over next month, yeah. It's gonna be bad. Originally, they came out and said last year, oh, we're going to close a few hundred. And I think we said at the time, that's the minimum. Like, it's going to be a lot more than that.
Yeah.
They already targeted the 300 they're going to close after the holiday season, but now they're going to look at their books and be like, oh, this is horrible. We got to close up a lot. And closing 20%, what was it, 1,000, Pat, may have to be like 18, 17%, something like that. They might close a hell of a lot more. I'm not saying they're going to close half of them right away, but this is going to be the start of a just a downward slide. Stocks at all-time lows just about. There's no confidence in it. There's no way out. They just had the circle of life crap we talked about last year, and to push.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying. For like a year or two, there was like they didn't really do the circle of life shit after like I think especially after it gained some traction in the news. They laid off of it, but now apparently this sort of thing is coming back full force, and it's part of a larger trend that I kind of get. I was reading the other day that Sears recently had someone buy them again to try to like
really
toss them another freaking lifeline. What is, like, sit down with these people. What is actually your end goal? You haven't lost these customers entirely because of business practices. Partially, yes, but you've lost a lot of your customer base because technology advances. We can do our shopping from home. So why are you pulling the Band-Aid off so slowly? It just hurts more.
So also, Sears has no branding besides, hey, we've been around for over 120 years, whatever, come to our stores. Like, that doesn't work in 2020.
So, I realize that, the people at the very top want to squeeze every last dollar out of it they can before they shut it down. But realistically, what do I want to know what these people are thinking. What do they realistically think is going to happen? They're talking about how if you don't hit the sales goals, that they've laid out, store managers get written up, and if there's 3 write-ups, you get fired. That's horseshit. You can't. What do you want them to do? Go outside and spin signs and corral people in? Your customer base just isn't there. It's not going to increase morale. It's not going to increase customer satisfaction with the ones that do go to your store, because they're going to leave. They're going to be pissed off and go, "This is bullshit," and they're not going to go back. You are killing off the rest of the business by going back to these tactics. I thought that maybe they had something going with the let's make this a gaming space. I didn't think it was going to save them. But if a company's going to go out, at least go out not harassing your fucking customers, because there's nothing you can do.
Well, yeah, but that was just a pilot program. What was it? A handful of stores, what have you, and they can't do that everywhere anyway.
Oh, I know.
But the only way I can see this working out, I mean, this would almost have to be, go into bankruptcy, unfortunately, almost like the Toys R Us thing. Someone buys it and just rebrands and relaunches it as maybe you do like only 20 stores, but they're all entirely different. Like it can't compete in the digital marketplace or with Amazon or with Walmart or with Target and places like that. You can't compete having a business model that's 20 years old. You just can't do it. This was the most horrifying thing I saw out of this article here. Let's see what I just missed it. What was it about getting information from customers?
Oh, yeah.
Where the hell was that? Traffic down. There was something like they needed to get at least the personal information of 10 customers a day. Did you see that in this article?
No. So what I saw was they need to do the read like 50 times a week about phones and stuff like that. Leading to 5 transactions is what they're hoping for.
This is what I saw in the article. Another store manager said that employees are required to collect contact information from 10 customers per day. Jeez. Info that is later used to pitch various services. At least when you went to Radio Shack, they wanted your whole address when you bought batteries. Back then they couldn't email you. 25 years ago. Now they can just email you and send you shit that you don't want.
There's 19 GameStops in a 20-mile radius around here.
19?
19.
When there probably should be like, what, 5 or 6?
I don't think there was ever truly a time where we needed 19 GameStops in a 20-mile radius, but you certainly don't now.
And that's after they closed some.
And that's
a few years ago.
And that's one of their biggest problems. We've talked about it before, but after the buyouts, they were everywhere. You ended up having 2, sometimes 3 GameStops in the same mall. We used to have a GameStop on Midway Drive and then 3 blocks down at the corner of Rosecrans in Midway. I mean, it's ridiculous, and that is one of the bigger problems. It's not that there is no place for a physical game store. There is. Lots of people like to go out and buy stuff. You need something like that, but you don't need 19 of them. Well, you're bleeding money.
Well, the other issue is
siphon that business into 5 in the San Diego area.
This is a larger business point, which I won't get into. I like talking about business things, obviously. But when they bought up Electronic Boutique / EB Games, when they bought up software, etc., you not only eliminated those stores, you eliminated the experience. There was a certain different experience going to those different stores versus a GameStop / Funkoland. And when you homogenize it, you turn off people, because the ones that got bought out, there was a Software Etc. in my mall. There was an awesome Electronic Boutique that was in back in Jersey. I remember buying all the PC games at. It's like, okay, great, you bought them out. So now that you're a GameStop, okay, you won't sell computer games anymore now? But I used to go to that store to buy computer games,
right,
and to browse there. And they even had import games. Now that's gone too? Like, you couldn't figure out a way to keep the brands somewhat relevant, like what they were before, and transfer over, so that you're just now totally turning me off. And I'm probably leaving out what they bought. Did they also buy Babbage's? Did they buy Egghead? They didn't buy Egghead, but they bought Babbage's, I believe.
Yes, I believe so.
Or one of those. But the point is that those chains all had a different experience and a reason why you went to them. When I walked into a Software Etc., I liked the setup, and I knew, okay, you're going to have your little computer here to demo stuff, and you have this stuff. But when you have one giant entity taking it over and wiping all that out, there's no reason for those, whatever you said, there's 20 here. Not all those 20s were GameStops originally. They're probably something else that they changed into. There's no reason for them to exist anymore. You know what I mean? It's like when Starbucks buys out, the competition on the same street. You open up 2 Starbucks. Great. You bought them out. You still only need the one Starbucks, because now that entity's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Joe's Cup of Joe's coffee place.
Cup of Joe's. I'm
not gonna go there now because it's a Starbucks in the same physical location. I missed Cup of Joe's before. I'm thinking of Mocha Joe's on Curb Your Enthusiasm, which was funny. Season premiere. Anyway, yeah, that's horrifying. You're gonna write up a store manager because I didn't get enough personal information from customers. you know, that just want to buy, you know, a freaking video game.
Yeah, it's gross.
All right, so we'll see. We'll come back and it'll probably be early April when we have the 2019 financials to go over, and it's not going to be pretty. You know, it's not going to be pretty.